menace to sobriety. Just a menace, just a menace.
Hello and welcome to another episode and the last episode from my home studio of Menace to Sobriety with your host Daniel O'Reilly, aka the comedian Dapper Laughs. Listen guys, very exciting. I was shooting a film, so we had to stop the bookings and we've had to wait for gaps to get back in, and we're back in the studio from next week. So you're going to have your multi-cameras, the editing, and you're going to have a co-host. It's going to be me and my good pal Kirk Norcross. So you've got that to look forward to. Me and him, both ADHD, both ex-addicts, sesh heads, both don't really care what we say. Good chemistry, and we're going to be tackling and informing on some great subjects close to my heart. You know, the mental health, the sobriety, the well-being, the bettering yourself is the main thing. We're going to get guests on hopefully in the future as well, and we're going to try and make it a bit more fun. But you know, it's an ever-evolving podcast, so you're coming on the podcast journey. This week I want to have a little chat with you about what I do when I feel like getting smashed, because I almost relapsed. I don't know if I almost relapsed, but I felt like getting on it. This past weekend, I've had a tricky week, hard week. And almost relapsed is a silly thing to say because I wasn't going to, but it crossed my mind. It thought I had to battle it. I had to battle my thoughts, my negative thoughts. And I just thought, wow, that come out of nowhere. That was a tricky weekend, and there wasn't anything particularly difficult. I'll talk you through it, but then I'll talk to you about why this happens to us, why some of us do this, why some of us are the way we are. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about being judged, because I was criticised quite heavily, which it always dents me. And also I'm just going to have a little chat with you about ways that, you know, things you can do in real time. You know, if your addiction, or if your triggers, or if you know, something happens and it grabs hold of you straight away. But first of all, I'm going to tell you why it was a tricky week for me, because the weekend I was surrounded by drink and drugs, and I like to tell myself it ain't a problem, but every now and then it does become a problem for me, because it's not like I'm sitting there like going, oh, I want to fucking do drugs, or I'm sitting there and I'm like, I want to drink. You know, it's more I want to get fucked up and I want to get obliterated. But more this is going to sound weird to you, and I'll tell you how I get my mind around it, but it's sad for me to sit around people that are drinking. Like, not sad as in like I think they're sad, because I'd never judge, but it's sad as in like I'm just a bit disheartened, you know, that life's over for me, and I get a bit, you know, and I'll tell you how to twist your mindset on this, because that's not the right way to look at it, but you know, it all becomes too much. And what happened to me, I was at a barbecue with some really close friends of mine, good friends of mine. Great to see them. I hadn't seen them in a long time. I had kind of, not intentionally, but I think I'd kind of kept myself away from everyone while I was doing the hard work on my sobriety. But, you know, I felt comfortable going there. But these guys are, you know, whenever we all used to get together, we all used to party and we used to sesh really, really hard. And, yeah, man, it was all right at first, but towards it, and it was double difficult for me, because I had to leave the barbecue to go to the Ministry of Sound to go and support Carlos. It was Flex FM's 30th birthday, so I went there and everyone was off their nut. And then I had to go back to the barbecue, and by the time I got back to the barbecue, everyone at the barbecue was smashed. And there's a couple of things I want to go into here. You know, and I'll tell you how it made me feel. It made me feel like, oh, is this the rest of my life? You know, it's weird, because I can picture it now, I was sat at that table in my pal's back garden with the kids running around going crazy, everyone drunk, me sober, and I was sat there and I was looking around and I was like, now that everyone's fucked, I don't want to be here, and I don't know how to leave. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out, because the kids are having fun, and the missus is she was drinking as well, you know, and I'll touch on that in a minute. I just suddenly had this overwhelming feeling that this is the rest of my life. I felt like that moment was going to symbolize everything. Do you know what I mean? And so I sat there and I was like, oh man, this is me now for the rest of my life. I'm going to be that elephant in the room. And it just hit me, man, and it come over me like anxiety. It was like a social anxiety panic attack. You know, I was like fucking, mate, it was like, and then it felt weird because it came over me in like a chemical way, because it came over me like actual anxiety. When I started panicking, I was like, oh fucking hell, I'm not comfortable. Oh no, 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 I'm not comfortable. They can tell I'm not comfortable. And then like a couple of people were like, you're right, da da da, and then, because this is so weird, but I'm going to try and explain it. Then, because that came over me like that, because I felt so out of place and I didn't want to be there once they were all drunk, and I was contemplating the rest of my life, not looking at it like I couldn't enjoy myself, and I'm like, oh my god, it hit me like a brick wall. Fucking hell, I'm different to everyone, even though I'm nearly 9 months in. Then I thought that the anxiety I thought the way I was feeling was because I wanted a drink. I suddenly thought, oh shit, this is because I want to drink. Is this because I want the packet? Like, what is this? What's going on? And then that was even worse because I haven't had like an overwhelming compulsion. I haven't had like an overwhelming. I've had moments or thoughts where I've had to talk myself out of it, but that's like to go and drink and do drugs, not in front of me. Like, and it was scary, man, and it just hit me, and it made me realise that fucking 8 months is fuck all, and then and this is how I overcome it. While I was there, I started breathing through it, and then I told myself something that I remember I learned on this podcast, which was to look at it like not as missing out, but as being free from it. And then I looked at the people around me that were drinking, and I was like, look, they're not like me. They don't have a problem with it. Like my wife, she doesn't have a problem. She'll have, I think she drank, I don't know, like a handful of drinks. She gets tipsy easy. But once I said I wanted to go, she rounded the kids up and got in the car and we drove home. And by the time we were home, she was sober, really. Do you know what I mean? And the other ones were, they were doing their thing or whatever. But they ultimately they're not going all through the night and then ruining the next day and the whole weekend with their kids, or they're not kicking off and the world isn't falling apart. So I breathed through it and I said, look, you're free of it. You're here. You're not in that situation. But it was hard. It was very hard. And the weird thing is as well is that I focused on. I had a moment where I thought to myself, what do I want? What is it I want? Because I've got alcohol-free beers here, so I feel like I'm joining in. What is it that I want that I'm not going to be able to do? What do I mean? And this is what I do with myself. I overanalyze all my thoughts and feelings now. And that's one of the beautiful things about sobriety, is having the ability to feel everything properly, feel your emotions and look at them, not just being sad and being upset and being anxious, feeling the anxiety and then looking at it and wondering why you're anxious, what's making you anxious or what's making you sad, feeling the emotion and then looking at it. And that's what I started doing when I sat there. I was like, what do I want? What am I missing out on? What is it that I feel like I'm missing out on? And I know what it is. It's, I'm not on their level, because they were all fucking a bit silly and drunk. I wasn't on that level. But then I thought, I don't want to be on that level. I want to get fucked. That's what I miss. I want to get annihilated. I want to get fucked and start acting like a complete and utter twat. That's what I used to love doing. Drinking and then acting like a complete knobhead. And as soon as I told myself the truth of it, I thought, thank fuck I'm not doing that. Thank God. Oh, mate. And then it all hit me like a brick wall. Oh, imagine tomorrow. Imagine how I'd feel. I remember how I used to behave. Remember the stuff I used to do. Remember how, and then a couple of days later, because I was drinking, I'd be like, oh, I'm back drinking again now, and this event's happening. Then I'd put on the weight, and I managed to talk myself out of it. But it was a tough one. But that's what I did. I analysed it. I really analysed the feeling. We can get caught up in our emotions, right, and let them run with us. And I talk about this a lot, about how you manage your mind, right? Because things come over you, and it's like we're in the car and we're a passenger of our own mind. If you imagine our head is the fucking car, right, and it's just flying down the motorway, and you're you're like, oh fucking hell, it's raining, or there's a traffic jam, or there's something going on, and you're just sitting in the passenger seat, like, yeah, man, this is bad, like, or you're heading towards a crash, you're heading towards a fucking car crash, you're flying towards a car crash, and you could get in the driver's seat, but instead you decide to just sit in the passenger seat, and you're like, yeah, this is bad, this is gonna fuck me up bad, or you get in the fucking driver's seat and you fucking avoid it, you fucking move out of the way, or you look at why. You know what I mean? And that's what I do with my mind, and I understand that my mind is a very immature, damaged, lonely, insecure place, man. And if I let it be, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a kid, man. It's me as a kid. That's me as a kid in there. It's not me as an adult. Me as an adult is me as an adult. I'm a fucking entrepreneur, I believe. I've got multiple businesses. I make good money. I motivate other people to better themselves. I handle my problems. I man up to my problems. I don't particularly like that saying, but what I mean is I face my problems. I don't hide from them. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and when I've done something wrong, I hold my hands up, and every day I try and better myself. I'm not a little boy, but that little boy does come in and start fucking talking to me. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I forget that it's the little boy talking and not the man. So, and I just got to remember it's the man. And a lot of it does go back to our childhood, man. That's what you've got to look at. And something else happened to me that made me really think of my childhood this week. Something else happened to me that, again, triggered me. And, wound me up. Somebody criticised the podcast, criticised me, a guy with a small following online. I was going to kick off about it, but I ended up speaking to him and sort of cleared the air. But it annoyed me. I woke up and I was getting tagged in this video. Someone had gone on their story and said, oh, have you seen this Dapper Laughs podcast about sobriety? Well, fuck him, fuck his sobriety, fuck what he's doing, fuck putting people that have made mistakes on pedestals. And I won't call him out because I squared it off, but and I kind of understood what he was trying to say, because he was saying, what about all the men that haven't made mistakes? What about all the men that have been there, didn't run from their problems, that didn't turn to drink and drugs? What about all of the men that were there for their family, not out drinking, sniffing gear? What about all of the men that, will work? I mean, I don't know why I said this, because I work my tits off, but that work hard. And I got what he was trying to say, is that, in this society, it's easier. It's sometimes you look at like a Z-lister or influencer or a celebrity, whatever you want to call what I do, being in the public eye, having millions of followers across your platforms and making films or being on TV and all that jazz, right? Doing stand-up. Someone like me comes out and says I'm sober because I was fucking my life up. Now I'm sober, and it's like, well done. Where you got all these other people that never fuck their life up. Where's their round of applause? And I get that. And, I applaud the strength of people that haven't had to battle addictions, but it pissed me off, man, and it blew the wind out of my sails. And the day it happened, I just decided to fucking, I had one of them. I'd got up, I'd done my boxing, I got myself fully motivated, I was ready to fucking fight the day. And that happened, and I just thought, fuck you, I'm taking the day off, and went and laid on the couch. And it was just one of them. I just thought, fuck you, fuck the world. I'm can't be bothered, man. Like, do you know what? It's like I put it out there too much, and today I don't feel like putting it out there. And sometimes you've got to do that. Sometimes you've just got to put your phone down, step back. But the thing that annoyed me about it, and that he didn't seem to understand, that I did have to say to him, is that, people that suffer with addiction, or people that end up drinking and using drugs, they're not, it doesn't make them bad people. We're all built different, right? And, there's a lot of stuff that goes into addiction. There's a lot of serious stuff that goes into addiction that can turn you into an addict. And there's fucking millions of people out there. I reckon 90% of people, there's a weird 10% that aren't, but 90% of people on the planet are addicted to something. That's what I think. I think everyone's addicted to something. And by addiction, what I mean is you have a habitual urge to do something. So scroll through your phone. If you're scrolling through your phone half the day, you're addicted to social media, to the flashing lights of your fucking phone, the dopamine hit. You get dopamine hits from watching videos and all of that. Even though they're minuscule, you get the dopamine rush, the entertainment, the fucking stimulation from your phone. Everyone's addicted to that. Then you got smokers. Then you got people that watch too much porn and all that stuff, and gambling addicts, food addicts, chocolate addicts, coffee addicts. I mean, I'm definitely a coffee addict. I have a Costa coffee every single morning now, specific Costa coffee out of the machine, caramel latte, same thing. Definitely hooked on that shit. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's got their addiction. So one, it's no good judging, but two, there's a lot that goes into it. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks that with addiction, you know, that, and this is what he was applying, that one day I just looked at my family and thought, no, do you know what? I'd rather be at the pub drinking and sniffing gear than being here with you, or something happened. Like, you know, he mentioned my dad, so he must have seen a clip about my father. You know, that my dad died, and then suddenly I decided I didn't want to be there for my family and I'd rather drink. That's not how it fucking worked for me, and that's not how it works for the majority of people. I'll tell you how it worked for me and how it works for the majority of people is that you spend your life drinking and occasionally using drugs because it's your culture and it's perfectly normal, and that's what the people around you are doing, and it's fun and it's normal and it's what you do at the weekends and it's what you do to socialize and it's sociably acceptable. Alcohol, that's why they say alcohol and other drugs when they should just say drugs, because alcohol is a drug, right? There's no two ways about it. You know, it's heavily addictive. Fucking everyone in the country doesn't realise that they're addicted. You know, I was only getting heavily smashed at the weekends, but I was still an addict because once I started, I couldn't fucking stop, right? But when it became a problem for me is, and I've learned so much about this, and I'm going to pass this on to you because this also helps when I talk about, you know, what to do when you feel like getting smashed. It ties into the premise of this podcast, because once you understand this, you can stop yourself from pressing the fuck you button and going for the drink or the drugs. Once you understand this, and what it is for me, it was a cultural thing, so it was normal. It was, you know, what me and my pals done. And we done it a lot, done it in excess. It was fun. So when things were shit for me that weren't fun, I wanted to have fun, you know. So when my dad died, I didn't want to deal with my dad dying. I wanted to be having fun. I wanted to escape. So I'd drink, you know, and then use drugs. So when it became a problem for me was when my life started falling apart and stuff started going wrong, like I lose my career, or my father died, or just I'm fucking just stressed with life, or I've had an argument with the missus or whatever. Then the thing that I considered fun and my happy place, the pub and the fucking fun, you know, that turned into my way of coping with shit that was bad. And that's dangerous road to go down, because once you start using drink and drugs to cope with feeling bad, it makes you feel worse. So then, you know, what do you do when you feel worse? You want to feel better. So then you take the drink and the drugs again to feel better, but then that makes you feel worse, and you feel worse and worse and worse. And you think the drink and drugs are going to make you feel better. And you keep on doing that until you're done. You're just hooked. And that's what can happen to you. And that's what happened to me. And, you know, what else annoyed me about this particular comment was the fact that everyone's built different, man. You know, we're not the same. Some of us have got addictive personalities, you know. Like I said before, I can go out now with my pals that drink, and on the train on the way home with them, I'm sober, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, half of you seem sober, man. Like, you know, you've had a few drinks and that. Like, what the fuck is going on? How can you come up to London on a night out and just be eating a kebab on the way home and you're a little bit tipsy? I'd never do that. I'd have to get fucking absolutely annihilated, you know. And there's reasons for that, because some of us are built with different dopamine receptors, and our brains release different chemicals when we drink, and it has a different effect on us. It affects different people when they drink, you know. Me drinking and you drinking might be different. I might get a different feeling to it that my fucking mind wants more of, whereas you might drink alcohol and you're just like, yeah, you take it or leave it, one or two. Some people are built different, right? So the thing that wound me up about this whole thing was he was just simply saying, yeah, I'm better than you because I didn't make that choice. Well, I feel like I didn't make that choice either. You know, I feel like the choice happened over time. I feel like I made not one bad choice, loads of fucking bad choices that ended up being a bad choice. But look, like I said, I spoke to him, but it knocked me for six. But it made me realise something, and I really looked into it, and I looked back on my counselling, because I felt myself wanting to press that fuck you button, and I felt myself wanting to, you know, escape this life that I created for myself. And very much like I was saying when I was at the barbecue, you know, it was tough. And I remember my counselling, and my counselling was about you know, stuff that happens in your childhood. You know, if you come from, look, I didn't come from a traumatic childhood. You know, I've got to be careful what I say because my mum watches some of these, but I didn't come from like I wasn't abused or anything like that. And, you know, it wasn't an overly traumatic childhood, but it was a broken home. It was a dysfunctional family. My mum and dad broke up. It was very volatile. And, you know, I was very young, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, 7 years old. That period in my life was hectic and insecure. And it wasn't the right environment, like a safe environment, you know, a comforting environment for, you know. And I learned this through my counselling, that children that grow up in these hostile environments that are a little bit, you know, not both your mum and dad are there, and you witness arguments and a lot of stress and stuff like that. I learned this. That it can be a cause of ADHD. It can be one of the reasons why you got ADHD. A psychologist called Gabor Mate speaks about it and says that ADHD can be caused by children that have had, you know, I want traumatic. Seems like I'm saying I had a really traumatic childhood, but you know, like just had an uncomfortable, you know, when they were a certain age, it wasn't exactly how it's meant to be. But anyway, that when we're that age, when stuff's going on around us that is hostile or that is scary or that we don't want to be around, that as children we can create alternative realities. You know, we can escape in our imagination, and we can, you know, switch off, and we learn techniques to be able to escape what's going on. And self-soothe is the word. As children, self-soothe ourselves. Excuse me, let me just have a sip of water. And this is where addiction comes in, because as children, when we learn how to self-soothe ourselves and we learn how to look after ourselves and escape reality and get our minds to take us somewhere else, we forget that as we grow older into adults. I may be getting this wrong, but this was my understanding of it through my counselling. And as we get a little bit older, when we if that was what you were like, and you get a bit older and you discover other things that help you escape, you know, like drink and drugs, then, you know, you can take to them. You know, that become your new form of escapism. And I can really relate to it, because there's words and phrases that I've said this many times that I think about that, you know, often really symbolize, you know, what it's like for me when I used to drink. And it's like I want to just switch off, and you know, that could go back to your childhood. You know, I just want to switch off. I just want to escape. I just want to relax. I just want you know, I just want to forget about it. You know what I mean? All these buzzwords, I want to get annihilated, smashed, wasted. You know, just want to black out. You know, all of these things that take you away. And ultimately, it's like when life gets too hard, that's what people want to do, man. They want to fucking, boom, get out of there. And again, big cause of addiction. So this is what I'm saying, Chell. Once you start to understand, you know, it's like almost looking like drink and drugs wasn't a problem, right? They were the solution to your problem. What's your fucking problem, man? It's like the drink and drugs were your solution, yeah, to whatever you're going through. What was you going through? What's the problem? How do you feel? And it's like I always say, focus on, you know, this is what I try and do. I don't focus on the emotion. I try and focus on why the emotion is in me, why I'm thinking, I'm feeling what I'm feeling. I think to myself, what's going on? What's the thought process behind that? What's got me to this point? You know, if I'm like fucking vibrating on a level where I want to fucking escape, if I'm like shaking and I'm like, I fucking can't handle life, I can't handle today, I want to get obliterated, which fucking crosses my mind. It has many times since I've been sober. And what I try and do now is try and backtrack through the thought process and just like calm myself down, just take myself out of my head, take myself out of my head and just be like, breathe, you know, try and look at these situations where you're fucking like, I want to get fucked up. Try and look at these situations and be like, right, good, okay, I'm glad this is happening to me now. Why? What can I learn from it? What can I take from it? You know, why or how have I got here? What's made me feel like this? Do you know what I mean? And you can really talk yourself out of it, but it's about understanding what the cause is of that trigger. So yeah, man. Ultimately, you need something that you can snap into straight away. You know, for me, you know, I I've had some bad turns where I've had to just go right straight away, where I've walked away from a situation. I've opened up one of my diaries or a book or something. I've just started writing how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it. Again, trying to dissect my thought process. You know, I don't know if I've said this analogy, but it's like you know, it's like when you're in your head. It's like your head's a car and you're driving towards a fucking car crash, and you're sat in the fucking passenger seat and there's no one in the fucking driver's seat. And that's what it can be like in our minds sometimes. You know, when you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna fucking drink and do drugs. Oh man, today's just been, oh, I can't be fucked. Fuck it. And like you're in the car, but you're in the passenger seat, and your mind's just going. You're like, oh man, do you know what? Fuck it. This is all reasons, and that's the fuel going in the fuel tank of the car. This. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm heading there anyway. And before you know it, I'm heading there. Then I'm at the pub, or I'm fucking ordering a gram, or I'm fucking drinking, and I'm doing it. But you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? You can see the journey. You got to start seeing the journey for what it is. You know, when the car starts heading towards the car crash, when your mind goes from this position to that position, when you can see the triggers and you can go, you know you're in it. You know you're in the trigger. You know you're in the point of no return. You know that you fucking, you know, like I said before, I was at this barbecue recently. Everyone was drinking around me. It came over me like a fucking anxiety, man. And it was like I was looking at it like it wasn't because I wanted a drink. First of all, it was because I was sat there and I was like, oh my God, I'm always going to be the elephant in the room. This is me now. You know, I'm never going to be on their level. I'm not going to be able to enjoy myself. You know, and then I thought, oh, it's the anxiety here because I want to drink. So is that what it is? And then that scared me, and it was just crazy. And then I had to go, take myself out of my head. Whoa. What's going on here? Why are we heading towards the crash? Get in the driver's seat. All right, come on, let's steer this. Come on, let's have a think about what's going on there. So everyone's drinking and you want to drink, but you don't want to drink to be on their level. You want to drink to get absolutely annihilated, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, I want to get fucked up. I want to get smashed. And then you're like, oh, right, okay. Yeah, what does that look like? Well, that looks like me being up all night, ruining the fucking weekend, being rude, obnoxious, and fucking mouthy, and just trying to be the centre of attention, upsetting everyone that's followed me on this journey. And then slowly I'm like, oh man, fucking, that was weird. Why did I think that? You know, it's tough work, man. But it's about running them analogies in your mind. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense, but to me it does make sense. But there's also, you know, when I was away in, I'm just rabbiting on now, but you'll be glad when we get back in the studio, I'm sure. I'm not sure if I don't know. It's so weird doing podcasts if people are out there listening to this and if it makes sense. You have to let me know in the comments, because sometimes I think maybe I'm just going insane, just emptying my mind, but it does help me. But I had a big one. You know, a lot of people ask me as well. Let me just touch on this. A lot of people ask me, you know, what's it like Shelley drinking? You know, and I don't know, man. I don't know how can I approach this. Because when we went to my good pal Jason Mazza's wedding, he, you know, she got drunk there, and I was doing a lot of videos and about us, and I was taking the piss out of her being drunk, and she caught a lot of flack for it. Actually, she wasn't very happy, because a lot of people were saying that she wasn't very supportive of my journey in the comments and stuff, and that broke her heart really, and it did upset me a little bit, just because there's no one that's been more supportive. I mean, if you think of the one person that's had to deal with, you know, because when someone's in the midst of putting drink and drugs before their family, ultimately they're not there. You know, I was here financially, do you know what I mean? And I was here in person most of the time, but I wasn't here. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't present. They weren't the most important thing to me, or they were important, the most important thing to me. But you know, there was other things that were as important, like going out and getting smashed, and there was the arguments and the disrespect and the rudeness and the fucking. But anyway, and how can you be more supportive than giving me chance after chance to get clean and sober and to sort myself out and to believe in me? Do you know what I mean? And to stick with me. You know, because she could have fucking left, man, and fucking taken a shitload of money with her. But I'm joking. But so yeah, man. And the truth of it is I don't think it bothers me, because I like to see her enjoy herself. and she hasn't got a problem with drink. She's not into her drugs, never has been, but she hasn't got a problem with drink, as in she doesn't get fucking wasted and can't stop, and she's up all night drinking. She does get drunk quite easy, but she'll, like when I was at the barbecue, she was like on alcoholic free beers for a bit. She had a couple of them, and she had like a few fancy cocktails that they were making, and then she was on the water. Do you know what I mean? She's not like a drinker, so it's not like she sat in front of me doing shots of tequila and fucking rolling around on the floor. But there's an element of me that's always going to be a little bit anxious around people drinking, because I've got to battle the feeling of that I'm missing out, and I've got to swap that feeling with being free of it and just feeling like the odd one out. So, but I think that, if you really struggle being around alcohol, then you should ask your partner not to. But personally, myself, I'm trying to overcome those feelings. So, but yeah, man. So the other time that I had a really tricky one was over in when we went to the Caribbean. She'd met. Was this the last time I went sober? Yeah, I think it was. She made some friends over there, and they all got drunk, and I fucking flipped out. I was like, I can't fucking be around you lot. I went straight to the gym and just smashed the gym, man. Just running and everything like that, and that sorted me out. But I think I've got to be a little bit more careful with the environment that I put myself in, and I think we've got to be a little bit more aware of our feelings, and just fucking be in tune with what's going on in your mind. Right, guys, I just wanted to have that chat with you. I don't really know what I said then, but I feel like I said quite a lot, and I just wanted to talk about how I'd had a bit of a tough one, and how I overcome it, and the way I think about things. But I asked the people on the Instagram to send me some questions in to finish this podcast on. So this one's from Kelly. How do you get the willpower to never use again? Asking for a friend. How do you get the willpower to never use again? How do you get the willpower to never use again? You don't, Kelly, you don't get the willpower to never use again. You just get the willpower to not use that time. Do you know what I mean? There's no way that you can one day wake up and get the willpower to never drink or never use again. My journey and what I'm doing, and what I think is the most important thing about achieving anything, is understanding your thought process and managing your mind, managing your thoughts and managing your emotions. Sometimes a thought can come into our mind, like I've used this analogy before, like little me, like as a kid, sometimes is in there talking, and adult me gets distracted and thinks, I get distracted and think it's the adult me talking, but it ain't. It's the kid me talking. You know what I mean? The kid, when I was a kid, stupid, immature, fucking ways of thinking and talking. And I've got to be like, no, man, what you fucking? I'm a man. Do you know what I mean? So overcoming and having that willpower is a day-to-day thing. It's a situation-to-situation thing. It's too big to comprehend. And that's what gave me anxiety the other day when I sat at that barbecue. I suddenly looked at my whole future in front of me. I'm always going to be this guy sat at the table, sober and anxious when everyone else is having fun. And that, looking at the rest of my life like that, filled me with fear, anxiety and regret of going sober. And then I had to talk myself out of it. And just realised, no, man, this is a beautiful thing. You're free from it. You're not missing it. So it's about small bits of willpower that together will culminate in success. All right, let's have a look what else we got here. Got another one here. Has sober my husband has got sober. This is from Steph. My husband has got sober, but is still struggling with feeling down and finding purpose. How can I help him? My husband has got sober, but is still struggling with feeling down and finding purpose. How can I help him? Steph, thank you. So your husband's gone sober and he's still down and can't feel purpose. Well, it sounds like he's still mourning the old him. He's still mourning his old life. And like I keep saying in this episode, he's got to he's got to, and show him this clip, man. Like, you've got to look at it of being free of it. Every day that you're sober, you're free of a grip of addiction. You're free of a grip of needing something that doesn't serve you, right? So you can't look at it like, oh, I'm missing out. You've got to look at it as it doesn't serve you, and you're slowly getting free of it. And everyone says that goes sober, it gets better and better and better, and that is the truth. So you can't. This is great advice, Steph. Someone gave this to me. You can't base your sobriety on how you feel today. You can't focus on how you can't, think, oh, this is how I feel today, this is how sobriety is going to be, because that's bullshit. It gets better and better and easier. I don't know if easy is the right word, but it gets better and better, and like the positives just start outweighing the negatives of sobriety. It takes a long time, and it's not just your body, it's your mind. I keep on saying it takes a long time for your mind to understand, oh man, that was crazy, thank fuck that's done. But purpose is a tricky one. I think if Steph, if he can find anything creative, that will free him, man. Like poetry, drawing, writing, playing an instrument, or anything. This is a great thing to offer him, Steph, or anyone else that's out there. And I think this is great advice, and I live by it. And it's finding something that you'd like to be good at that's really hard, and working on that. Finding something that you would like to be good at that's really, really hard, and then just work on that. So, for instance, golf is a good one. Golf's fucking horrible, mate, but, it's shit and it's hard. But when you go and you practice and practice and play and play and play, when you make the slightest little bit of improvement in golf, you're fucking addicted. You're like, I want to do this, or I want to become the best at it. And it's hard work, and it takes up loads of your time, and it gives you purpose. It gives you something to work on. The key to finding purpose is to get little wins. If you wait for the big wins in life, like the fucking house, the money, changing your life, the big wins, you're going to be waiting forever. You got to go and get those little wins. I get it with boxing. I'm sparring tomorrow morning. I'm already thinking I don't want to be there, but once I'm in there sparring and I come out, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm slightly getting better. I get my little win in, and I feel like I've got purpose. To find something difficult. Tell him to find something difficult to do that he'd like to be good at, or start being creative in some form. I like that one. What's next? My missus has got a new fella after 2 weeks, 6 years down the drain. What do you think? Oh, that's a tough one. It's not sobriety based, is it? My missus has got a new fella after 2 weeks, 6 years down the drain. What do you think? Well, listen, man, better the devil you know, man. Fuck it. Like, do you know what I mean? What does that say about her? Why would you want someone back that never really wanted you? Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I don't know the details of it, mate, but you don't just get a new fella within 2 weeks. I'm not saying that she was cheating on you, but one foot was out the door for fucking a long time. If 2 weeks later she's with a new fella. So, this is the you show now. This is not the her show. This is the you show. And this same goes for any men or women that are listening to this podcast that are going through breakups, because they're a huge trigger for relapse. Breakups, cheating, divorce, getting dumped, the fuck you button is right there ready to press. And I think that the beautiful thing with self-development and personal growth is that when you start fucking playing the lead role in your own life, in the movie of your life, and you're like, do you know what? Because this is what I'm like. I've got my family, my friends, and I've got things that I love, my work and all that, and that's part of me. But really, I'm on my own. I'm on my own. Right, and I'm on a fucking mission every day. I wake up and I'm focused on my own. I'm going to get my fitness in. I'm fucking not drinking. I ain't doing drugs. I'm fucking improving my comedy. I'm making more money. I'm fucking grafting. I'm going to be fitter, stronger, better. I'm fucking going to be the best version of myself. I'm sorting out my mental health. I'm untangling my negative thoughts. I'm forward projecting my visualization. I'm visualizing what I want, and I'm not thinking about the negative shit in the past. I'm being conscious of where my thoughts are going. I'm working on myself. I want to be better. And when you do that, you start to become more attractive physically and like emotionally. Do you know what I mean? When you start focusing on yourself, people around you can see. I mean, my friends, my missus, I don't know about my friends, but my missus, my wife, she knows that I'm like a different beast. I'm a different person. And ultimately, the better you treat yourself, the better you're going to treat everyone else. But the beautiful thing about doing that when you've been dumped or someone's left you or you've broke up or got whatever, if there's someone in your life that, you know, you feel rejected by, when you start focusing on yourself, they'll feel that because your energy will get pulled away from them. You know, you're not begging them for the, you're not begging them for the reassurance. You're not begging them for the love. Do you know what I mean? You're, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, you're loving yourself, but more than that, it's, what is it? It's like, fuck, you know, your self-confidence. Do you know what I mean? Your self-confidence isn't based on someone else. If you put everything about you in the hands of someone else, if you go, right, my whole fucking being, how I feel about myself, my fucking self-worth is based on that person's opinion. And if that person loves me, and you put all of that in their hands, at any point your world can fucking fall apart. If, like I'm fucking doing now, you put all of that fucking self-love, self-worth, and how you value yourself in your own fucking hands, and you put all of that in your own hands, and you wake up and you decide every single day you're going to try and be the best version of yourself. You do something every day that puts you out of your comfort zone, and you achieve something. You get your little win. You get your little fucking win in every day, and you fucking go like that, yeah, fucking boom, and you put it all in your fucking heart, and you're giving yourself the fucking love. Who gives a fuck what anyone else does? Who cares? I mean, stuff's going to affect you, but you're always going to have your foundations in yourself. Do you know what I mean? And when you start becoming that confident in yourself and you give yourself that much self-love and you build your foundations up that much, they all want to fucking shag you anyway because you look like a fucking well put together, focused, sexy individual. Fucking hell, I'm getting good at this shit, bruv. All right, let's have a look at this one. Tips for supporting a partner going sober. Shit, man. Buy them loads of books on sobriety. Just listen. I'll tell you one tip I can give you. For if your partner's going sober, and the only way that I can sort of to tell you how this works or why this works is because it motivates me. Is when my wife says she's proud of me, it's like it almost makes me cry. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you because I spent so many times looking at her, looking in her eyes, knowing that I've disappointed her. You know, I've been out all night or I was fucked. To look in her eyes when she's like, you know what, I'm really proud of what you're doing. I can see what you're doing. Well done. To a man, especially, is worth its weight in gold. I'm not. There's, you know, we feel underappreciated a lot because a lot of what we do is considered standard procedure. Right, I'm just going to say it out is, you know, providing the food, providing the money, the fucking shelter. I mean, I'm using old terminology here, but you know what I mean. Like a man's role is as the provider, and that is considered standard. But we still have to graft our asses off for that. But the majority of the time, us men are spending so much time fucking things up while we're providing. We never get that thanks because it's not deserved most of the time. But if your man is trying to better himself and he's done a week sober or a few days sober, having you put your arms around him or say to him, wow, you know what? Well done, man. I'm so proud of you. I can see that you're working really hard on this. And if he relapses or fucks up, oh, my, I know you've got it in you. I was so proud of what you were doing. You know, when you're ready, you know. And what you're doing there is you're planting a seed of a feeling, of a better feeling. And once he gets into the routine of feeling that goodness, he'll pick it over the badness. You know, he'll lean towards the goodness over the badness. So, you know, it's easy for and rightly so, our partners to berate and have a go at us when we're fucking up. But that positivity when we're doing it right can become our new addiction. That was good, man. That was good. I think I'm going to leave it on that. That's been good fun. Listen, guys, thank you very much. I'm not sure if any of that made sense. I kind of went all over the place with that. But ultimately, I wanted to speak to you about my mindset when I think I'm going to get smashed. And yeah, I love you guys. Back in the studio next week. Let me know if you came on the whole journey for that one and you're still here at the end. If there's anything that stuck out for you, if it made sense, if you're enjoying them. I'm a fucking one of these insecure geezers. I love to get the feedback, so it keeps me motivated. I believe that through this journey of sobriety, I'm learning so much, and I'm really enjoying sharing it with the men, the women, the partners, people that have lost hope, or people that are finding their hope again. And when I start talking like this, I mean, what's this, 45 minutes? When I start talking, it all floods out of me. And one of the best things that's come about me having this problem is I feel like I've got more to give than just fucking funny videos and being a dick online. So thank you to my audience. Sharing's caring. Anyone you know is going through it or you think can benefit from this podcast, please tag them in it or tell them to go and check out Menace to Sobriety. Tour tickets are on sale. You can come and see my stand-up. As you can see, I'm a very funny guy by all these stand-up comedy posters behind me. If not, if you're listening to this somewhere, get on my Instagram, drop me a DM, let me know you listened, give me some feedback, and I'll try and reply to everyone's DMs. I love you. Sharing's caring. Spread the podcast and leave me a comment in this. Thank you. We're back in the studio next week. Bye-bye. Oh yes, and don't forget, if you want to come and see me live and meet me, I'm going on tour. The Daniel O'Reilly Out of Character full UK tour kicks off in January 2024 and tickets are on sale right now. I'm going to try and get out and meet as many of you as possible. And of course, I'm going to be bringing the laughs all over the UK. There's 23 dates right now and I'm adding more all the time. Hit the link in the bio and get your tickets now and come have some fun. If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only, but once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety. Just a menace. Just a menace. Just a menace. Menace to sobriety. Just a menace.